What's up, YouTube? This is welcome to my channel, Christ-Centered Mental Health. I'm coming to you right now, starting my new video series called His Strength and Weakness. This is where I interview a fellow Christian brother or sister who struggles with mental health and just talk about his personal struggles and his life. Hold on. Okay. Anyways, so I'm talking to my brother Britton right now. Please, hey Britton, can you introduce yourself and tell a little bit about yourself, about what's your mental illness and what's your experience with meds?
Yeah, my name is Britton. I was diagnosed at 11 and a half years old with bipolar 2. And at that time, I went to go see a psychiatrist, and he put me on Prozac. And then when I was 23 years old, I had a mental breakdown. And at that time, I was diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder. Paranoid personality with schizoaffective disorder. And first time I was hospitalized in the behavioral health unit. And first time I had been on uh, a medication that was classified as antipsychotic. Um, uh, but also, I believe there's a follow-up question that has more to do with
You were diagnosed. The follow-up question was, how did you react when you were diagnosed?
um, the hardest one was my breakdown when I was 23 years old. Um, I never would have thought that my mental condition would have deteriorated to that level. And well, maybe I should try to answer more than one question in one session. Um,
The next question was, when did you become a Christian?
well, okay. So I was born in Hawaii, lived with my family there, and then my parents divorced uh, when I was about 11, and uh, I moved with my mother and my sister to Southern California. And several months later, my dad came over to Southern California, and I had grown up in a somewhat evangelical household, and my dad started to become a little more strict, a little more hardcore, kind of Reformed Baptist. Um, and I don't know if that played a toll in some of my mental instability, but um, anyways, so I lived with my mother and my sister in various places in Southern California. And as a teenager, I didn't really care much about anything that had to do with faith. I didn't, I just was not concerned about that. I was concerned about every other kind of social interest in school. And I never really pursued my studies with any rigor. Um, and but anyways, so through my teen years, I had been on Prozac and Paxil, um, and uh, then I when I was 18, I moved in with my dad, and um, I started going to a Reformed church, and I was baptized. But still, at that point, I didn't really care about. I Even though I had been baptized, I wasn't really interested in Christianity. Um, um, I just was My main focus was just trying to live my dreams, I guess. Trying to make my dreams come to fruition to fulfill um, my meaningless existence. Um, when I was about 20 years old, adult life seemed to me to be a lot more absurd. And I think this was probably a part of where my mental breakdown came from. But I also believe that I did have some paranoia. I'm not exactly sure what exactly was paranoia or wasn't paranoia. Maybe that's the point. You don't really know when you're the uh, when you're the patient, I guess. But I had started to become more paranoid, and I started to act erratically. Um, I was trying to put off the people who I believe were following me, and so I tried to act with really weird behavior, hoping that they would no longer give attention to me whatsoever. But whatever of that was in my head, maybe the whole thing, I don't know. But that's what was going on in my head. Um, but anyways, I was walking home um, from school uh, at the in the early ages, at the beginning of my when I was almost 23. Um, I I became very scared. I had a breakdown. I was I had thought that I had ruined my whole consciousness, um, or not my consciousness, but my conscience, um, because I was acting so behaved in such random ways, and things that were not acceptable socially. Um, and so I thought I was a reprobate, and so I was really afraid. Um, I was really afraid for my eternal condition, and I had a breakdown then, and that was when I was shot up with Geodon, an antipsychotic, and I was put in the behavioral health unit. And I felt much better when they gave me the antipsychotic, but it was really difficult feeling for the first time that I was not in control, that the very faculty of my reasoning was not working, probably for the longest time. And it came to a point where I could no longer accept the world around me. My reality didn't seem real. It seemed skewed in some way, but I couldn't really put the pieces together. Um, so that was the first time I started praying, um, but it was really difficult. I didn't really know who to appeal to with my mind being gone, with the loss of mental stability. Um, I prayed out of fear, and for several days I felt I was completely lost. But I did get a little bit of relief um, after having been put on antipsychotics, and um, I started praying a lot more. And but that was one of the most difficult times in my life. I had stopped believing for a period of maybe a few days or something, because I simply could not. I It wasn't that I couldn't just believe in God. I couldn't believe in the world around me, and so therefore that was like, um, if I felt as though if I can't really make sense of the world around me, how am I supposed to believe in some sort of entity that created all this? Um, um, Sorry, I'm scattered, but
No, it's okay. You're doing
uh,
fine.
so I don't know if I answered some questions there, but
Well, when you started praying, would you say that was when you became a Christian, or?
um, I mean, perhaps my whole breakdown was a realization that I can't. One of the things it was a realization that I'm not a sound person within myself. I cannot. Uh, what is that called? Like deliberate reality. And that was the hardest thing because I had so much pride. Um, I had a lot of anger, a lot of passion, and I felt that I was extremely sound in my thinking before my breakdown. I felt that um, I felt like I was in control of my destiny, um, and that was really hard. Coming to terms with the fact that I'm not a foundation for myself. So, but I'm sorry. What was the question?
Oh no, I think you pretty much answered it. Well, I was just asking. I wanted to know when you started praying. Was that a time when you think you became a Christian?
Well, it did. It was a major turnaround. I would think that as far as the Greek term of repentance, like metanoia, a changing of mind, um, that was a large change of mind. That that was the first time I that was the first time I cared about my own eternal state, my own salvation, and my own unworthiness ethically, and also my inability, I guess, like in an ontological sense, my powerlessness. Um, and so it was a conversion. It was a type of conversion, even though I I have continued to. I feel like I have to repent every day sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I understand that. All right. The next question was, how has your faith helped you with dealing with your mental illness?
um, well, um, I am more reliant on somebody who I believe is that I'm able to rely on. Um, Sometimes I am very doubtful and very weak in my faith. Many times I am. A lot of the time I am. But I do believe that God um, is is the upholder. He is the only one who can save, that he is sound when I am not sound, or I believe that in every moment he holds up my being, um, um, even when I can't, even if I were to get Alzheimer's, um, or become completely I believe he's there upholding things when I can't, even if I were unconscious, or dead. Um, I rely on him for everything, not just the times when I feel like I'm more there or with it. So
I understand that. Like, the next question is, do you think that taking medication for mental illness displays a lack of trust in God? Why or why not?
no, I don't believe it is a lack of trust in God. I mean, um, I also eat food that is a part of nature. If if there's chemical imbalances in my brain, and my my neurological system is natural, the chemicals in my brain are natural. The food I eat is made up of chemicals um, at their more rudimentary level, I guess. Um, I believe nature is good, and um, I don't believe miracles are needed.
Amen to that.
You know,
I agree with that.
throughout
Yeah.
throughout normal existence, I guess.
Yeah. I agree with that. We like
Um,
miracle. We don't need miracles.
or they're simply not even. I can't pray my mental illness away, I guess I would say.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And so, the same way I eat food to nourish my body, the same way I take chemicals to help bring some balance to my thought, um, in any way that it can, I guess. Yeah.
What's your thoughts on Christian counseling versus secular counseling?
Well, I don't know if that distinction really makes a lot of sense to me when it comes to counseling. In counseling, I believe one of the things they do is give you good advice, right? Um, how to how to help you cope with your difficulties, um, and so I think secular uh, counselor can give you just as good as advice as a counselor who's a Christian. Um, um, I don't believe they uh, are the gospel. I believe they are there to give you instructions in some ways, also to listen, but also to give you instructions on how to uh, how to better cope with your illness. And so I don't even really know if that's a helpful distinction between. I believe a counselor is a counselor, whether they happen to be a Christian or a secular counselor of some sort. I believe they're just as equally
That's a
helpful,
pretty good.
but I don't believe they
That's a pretty
are
good answer.
the gospel.
Just for a follow-up question on that, like if you had the choice of a counselor that you'd want to go through, what kind of counselor would you want to go see?
I would probably want Job as a counselor.
Yeah. Well, he definitely went through a lot.
Yeah,
He has a lot of life experience.
yeah.
All right. Have Christian friends ever responded to your situation in hurtful ways?
Um, well, the church I was in when I had my breakdown, there were a couple people there who had schizophrenia, and the church was very warm and welcoming, um, very hospitable, um, to those with mental illness. And I also already had some support there because of the couple other people that had schizophrenia. Um, and they helped me through it. They weren't really judgmental. They didn't really think that anything miraculous had to happen in order for you to be a believer. So
Well, the follow up question to that was, I guess, doesn't make sense now, but I'll just ask it anyways. It was, how can we avoid this? How can Christian friends that responded badly or hurtful to you, how could they have avoided responding hurtfully? Like, I guess
well, I think
basically, how can Christian brothers and sisters avoid responding in hurtful ways towards a person with mental illness?
I think with everything that we don't personally experience, I believe we need to just simply listen, become more educated. And I need to do that myself about a lot of things, especially public speaking. No, um, um, but yeah, I do believe that it helps to not believe that your perspective is all encompassing, that it's universal across the board when it comes to so many different things that so many topics that we can learn about, um, um, and yeah, I believe just listening and becoming educated about those things is really helpful.
It always helps to become more educated about mental health and dealing with a loved one who has mental illness. Um, yeah. The next question I have is, what do you wish your Christian brothers and sisters understood about mental illness?
Well, sometimes I think about Nebuchadnezzar, um, where he had built a great kingdom, and he believed that he was a master of his. Uh, he felt as though just about everything was in his domain, uh, under his control, and he had lots of pride. Um, but he went. I guess he was made mad. I guess that would, you know, as far as a miracle, it would. I guess as the Bible reports, that's a miracle that he was made mad and he was made to crawl um, like an animal. And I'm sorry, can you repeat the question one more time?
What do you wish your Christian brothers and sisters understood about mental illness?
Yeah. So kind of with Nebuchadnezzar, in the sense where any of us, any of us can become crazy. It doesn't. Um, you can go through certain life events, even if the chemicals in your brain are working very well, and you have a soundness of mind. At any time, you can go crazy. You can there can be a shooting, and you can get PTSD. Um, um, you can lose a part of your brain from a gunshot wound. Um, you can get in a car accident. At any moment, we can lose our soundness um, in our minds, and so
That's
I
true.
guess it just becomes more of a none of us are masters. I guess none of us are God. I guess I don't know. That with that I guess for believers we believe that we rely on God, um, but but I think that that may that may be more something that a person has to go through to learn it, because I was extremely prideful, and I still struggle with pride even now, but I was a lot more prideful before I had my breakdown. Um, and I even treated my faith, my ability to believe, as some sort of credit to myself, that I actually did something. That I did something, and therefore God is required to reward me in some way, simply because of what I apprehend. Uh,
Yeah, that makes sense. Like I struggle with pride too. I have to fight it every single day to keep myself humble instead of allowing myself to get puffed up with pride. So I get that. Um, the next question is, what have you learned about God through your mental health struggles?
First and foremost, that I'm not God.
Yeah, that's true.
Um, I mean, my my what happened in my life is actually really bad. The only reason I started caring about God was because my life had been turned upside down. Um, there's no, it wasn't anything virtuous with me. Um, it was, I thought I was in control, and everything was taken from me. You know, my mental faculty um, had been turned upside down. So therefore, it was simply because um, because I lost my mind. That's the only reason why I started to care about God.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I don't follow things very quick easily. Can you repeat that question again?
The question was, what have you learned about God through your mental health struggles?
Um, well, I don't know if I've learned a whole bunch about God, but I kind I feel as though I need to trust, um, because I'm lacking. because I lack reason and soundness in my life, um, I believe God puts people like doctors, no matter what they believe, personally. I believe He puts them there to help us. Um, and I, the only thing I've learned a little bit more is to trust, little by little. So, so.
That's a huge thing to learn too. That's nothing small.
Sorry, I'm having a hard time hearing your question.
I said that's a huge thing to learn too. That's nothing small. It's really hard to trust God every day.
Yeah.
Mm, that's really big. That's a really big lesson. All right, so that's all the questions. Let me see if
I
the
sorry,
if,
sorry, I'm not very clear. And I also have um, a limited vocabulary, and I struggle with composing my speech, my words, and sorry for lack of clarity. And
okay. I mean, I think you
so,
were. I think you've been very clear this whole interview. Mm. You've been very clear and straightforward. I don't think anybody had a hard time understanding you. Like, I think you've been very clear. Let me see if I'm gonna check the chat to see if anybody has any questions that they want to ask. Um, okay, a couple people commented. Um, LJ the Mad Dragon commented earlier and said she wanted to tell you thanks for sharing your story. She said, "Well said." And then another person named Danielle West said, "Very yes, I greatly enjoyed this interview." Um, LJ the Mad Dragon also said this was a great interview. Like no one, but I guess no one has any more questions. So thank you for being on my show and for being willing to being interviewed about. I know it's hard. I know it's difficult to come on a public YouTube channel and just like be let yourself be transparent in front of people you don't know. So I thank you again very much for being willing to do that. I appreciate it. Like,
thank you.
yeah, and I hope that everybody that watched this video, I hope that they were edified, and I hope that God was glorified in this conversation. All right, I'm gonna end the live stream now. Don't forget to rate and subscribe in the comment section and comment in the comment section below. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel and rate this video. And I'm gonna try and do one of these videos where I interview another Christian brother or sister about their struggles with mental illness and maintaining faith in the Lord once a week. It's the series again is called His Strength and Weakness. All right. Thank you very much and have a good night, everybody. Bye.